into the WACA-TV kitchen for another riveting episode of What's Really Going On with your two co-hosts, Jim Hanna and Julie Nardone. We are neighbors on Elliott Street, and we are here to help you, the taxpayers, get the information you need to make informed decisions. Jim, before I reveal today's topics, well, we're hoping it will be 3, but we've got enough for 3 shows today. Jim, do you have anything to say before I start?
We got a lot to do. We'll never finish it today, but carry on with the next programs after this, because we have much information to provide to you with a lot of activity that's going to go on in the near future, and we haven't a clue what our costs are or what our objections are. And it sounds good, it's very good, it's mass confusion. Okay.
All right, so our main topics today are the affordable housing project off Independence Lane called Robert Hill Way, the projects that are in a state of limbo, apartments galore, lack of spirit, public safety building, and if we have time, and I know we won't, the AAA bond rating. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly start with, I read in the paper that Hopkinton seems to have passed 3 underrides, and Ashland gets extra money from the state and new developments and just spends without giving the taxpayer any break at all. And I really think that the people of this town pay high taxes no matter what the town says to you. It's high taxes, a lot of fees, extremely high water and sewer. Now we've got the new stormwater. And the trash fee is going to start getting higher because of what's happening in the recycling industry. And it's like, how come we, the people, never have a say in how the extra money's spent, or if we would like an underride? Jim, do you have anything to say about that before I launch into the other categories?
I'd like to pursue a little bit more discussion regarding the stormwater runoff at the Ashland Reservoir. If you take the time to follow the Legacy Farms extension just before it comes out at House Street, coming from Ashland, you'll notice that there is a new development coming on as you proceed on the Legacy Farms Road going towards Hopkinton. And you'll notice that there is a lot of land going down that's been all scared off with all the trees. There's nothing left. It's just plain land with some grass growing. And it comes right up over the top of the Ashland pumping station. And there is where we have a serious soft spot. Mm-hmm. When the rains finally come with all the houses built and all the water is running down the asphalt way, there is an awful mess going to happen as those water retention areas fill up. The water runs over them and down into House Street and onto the Ashland pumping stations, Ashland cleaning station, and Ashland in general. It's going to cause a huge rise of water in the reservoir, and when it reaches a certain level, they have to let a lot of it out, and when it gets let out, it goes down into the center of Ashland sooner or later. Mm-hmm. That's a serious issue for us in Ashland. We have not even addressed it yet to Ashland. Mm-hmm. I know it, Julie knows it, we've talked to people in the higher authorities and at the town and at the plant in Ashland, and that it's not on their high list of urgency. So we're going to remind you of that issue that must be addressed, as far as I'm concerned, immediately, even if it's a separate private committee, just to go there and make sure that Hopkinton is aware of it and has some liability involved. Ashland is aware of it and has got a lot of expense involved. And I certainly hope that we wake up to that, because one of these days we're going to get it, and when we do, it's going to be too late.
Yep, we will be Venice. We will be the Venice of Metro West. And everyone should go now and buy kayaks and canoes.
Yes.
You know, so you can get around the downtown. Okay, we're going to talk about what I call a tragedy. A tragedy in the making. I called it this at town meeting. It is the affordable housing development on Robert Hill Way off Independence Lane. Just for a quick history, this project was voted down at the November 2013 town meeting.
2013.
Yeah, 2013.
That's a key date.
Yes, and when the purchase and sale expired, the project was to expire. Well, when the purchase and sale was about to expire, and no one found this out until 6 months later, a mortgage appeared on the deeds page for this property. The town apparently gave them a mortgage. We've asked for it. There was a promissory note, if you can believe it, in 2000.
Did they found a new vendor?
No, this is the same one,
Okay.
2018. And what's interesting is between December 2015 and December 2018, the property was not purchased because of this weird mortgage / promissory note, whatever, that we have asked for.
In other words, they delayed the promissory note, got delayed 3 years.
Yes.
When it should have been reactivated 3 years ago, or in
it appeared 3 years ago, but nobody knew about it, and certainly not the neighbors. But what's fascinating is, on Facebook recently, people who didn't get their excise tax bill, or you were $1 over, and this usually happens in the fourth quarter, they were getting $30 demand fees. So the citizens were getting demand fees for nothing, but then this other arrangement was going on between these people, and it was 503,000, a significant amount of money, and there didn't seem to be any kind of late fee. But anyways, it just feels like some kind of, I don't know, double standard. You give some people 3 years leeway, and then your citizens that you're supposed to be representing don't, 1 week late, get a slapped with a fee.
But the other problem is they reactivated the deed somehow, some way, between 215 and 218, when it should have been that should have been folded up and got away with, and a new company come in if one should,
and start
all the open space should have stayed the way it was.
Well, actually, the warrant article should have kicked in from 2013. So, but anyways, and Jim and I know about this. There's a couple of things I want to make sure we talk about, but this project was originally on the other side of another piece of property that was always open space, but that was brought to our town meeting as not deeded open space, which was very confusing. There was a lawsuit with Southborough, and those people won. So, and that's where the opening was, because where the opening is now, it's a very thin little sliver, and it was meant to be, as far as I know, and Jim knows, maybe an emergency exit. So we've now got the emergency exit that's not even wide, and Jim can talk to this too. It's not even wide enough to be a road.
Well, you're being kind.
Well, yes.
Yeah,
I am.
You can't be this sensitive. The people have to know that there are road specifications.
Road.
A national road has so many feet, so much depth of gravel and all this jibber, and that's a road, and it carries so much tonnage so that it doesn't sink into the ocean. Now, This road is not wide enough.
It's not a road, it's a driveway.
It doesn't specify enough to give it a road. It's called a way. A W, and that way sounds like a little sleepy word for a little grass area to get you from one part of the road to the area of where the children would play, open space. Ashland should have more, but they have. Well, somebody broke into the rules, and they said, "Oh no, we'll make the ways in such a way that it'll meet some of the specs and enough." But of course, federal trucks, like mail trucks, cannot go on that road because it's not a specified road for any of the Massachusetts or United States vans. So it was a rotten trick to play on Ashland. Like Ashland's supposed to get some benefits out of this. This was not a benefit at all. And that's what we're fighting now. And they're just falling all over it because they have to face the van, they have to face the way versus the federal way. And it may be argumentative now as it should have been then.
Well, when people see this thing go in, this is going to be no cause for celebration. This is the people in that neighborhood are being treated like absolute garbage.
And they
pay huge taxes in that neighborhood. It's already zone cluster, so everything's close together to begin with. So you're putting this driveway in between two houses, and because Jim mentioned it's the federal trucks can't go down there, it means all these mailboxes. Phase 1 is, I think, 65 units. Phase 2 might be 60. So you're talking about 120 mailboxes that will probably be blocking because the opening, all they have to work for is the way. So there's no room on either side. So all these mailboxes are going to have to be in front of the house that's right up at this was talked about at the meeting. And it's like, how does this happen? And somebody said, oh, it's for seniors. It is not for Ashland seniors. Jim and I went to all the meetings. There is no local preference. So
Yes.
You are destroying a neighborhood of people that live here and pay taxes and did a lot of volunteer work for the schools, because I spoke to them, for people that don't even live here. And like, why are we doing this? Like, why? How does that help Ashland other than the town got $503,000?
Yeah.
Like, how does that help us?
And it all started with the need of a $450,000.
Oh, the pumping station. Thank you, Jim. We got to talk about
the
that.
most expensive pumping station any state in Massachusetts has paid. We have paid.
We don't even have it yet.
No, but we know that was a $450,000 cost. Now we've been into this thing for millions, and no pumping station yet.
Okay, this neighborhood, they talked about it back in, I think, 2007. They've been talking about it since, I think some people moved in 2002. Yeah. There is a serious water pressure problem that was supposed to be enacted, and the last time it was discussed, they were going to put in a water booster pump station. It was somewhere around $400,000. They had put it on a map, and one of the neighbors pointed out it was in the middle of the retention pond. So we couldn't go there. So then they were talking about putting it here and there. So meanwhile, this project's coming in, which is just gonna siphon off the water pressure from the horrible pressure that's already there. And it's like, okay, now what are they planning on doing? Because Jim noticed that they've been doing the MWRA connection on, what road is that?
Was it
What's that road?
Oh God, give me a break.
It's not Oak Street, it crosses Oak Street,
Yeah.
and it goes into Oregon Road.
Oregon
Okay,
Road,
so
yes,
they've been
thank
working
you.
on this connection on Oregon Road. Jim was told it was the MWRA connection. But that can only be used as an emergency. So I guess the question is here, since that can only be used as an emergency, the people at town meeting only approved this connection, and actually we didn't approve the spending of any money on the connection. People were supposed to come back you can recap it on watching the town meeting. So when this housing, whatever you call it, what do you call it, a building
Yeah.
Gets built, how are they going to deal with the water pressure? Are they now building the $400,000 pumping station, or was something done in the connection? Because remember, this can't be on 24/7, 365.
It's
Only
an emergency.
an emergency.
Now, how we got approved at the town meeting a tie-in to the MWRA. As much as we thought it was too expensive, the town overruled it. Now we have a situation where, without telling anybody, they tied into the MWRA, and they used as a reason the emergency use. So now on Oak Street, believe it or not, they've got a tie-in to the MWRA, not an official everyday use, but an emergency use, and that's fair. I think I'll accept that too.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
easy for us to get to.
Although we don't have any emergencies.
Yeah, but you only can use it, only a squirt of
Yeah.
it can be used. This is, and the fire will go out, or we'll get, yeah, but that's all. But the fact that we tied into the MWRA is going to confuse people to think that we have gone full force. We're not. That's $100,000 or $200,000 or $300,000 ahead of us. If we want to become a member of the MWRA, they'll just make the hole bigger, but that's something that is an entire difference, because there's a lot of other money we have to spend on Southpro in order to get that done.
Yes, so it will be interesting to see
But back to
how the water pressure is going to be solved, because
they have a water
can't
pressure.
use the MWRA
Yeah.
because that too was a town meeting vote. But we seem to have a history of just ignoring town meeting votes. I mean, that November 2013 vote was packed,
Yeah.
wall to wall, awesome speeches, but it was ignored because they felt like it. And
Yep.
that's the way our government is. They just feel like ignoring things, so they ignore things. Okay, so we're going to talk about one other thing, but I quickly want to talk about, we get this, the town meeting update, the town manager's update. And the most recent one mentioned that for the second time, the town has once again negotiated the donation of additional acreage on the public safety building site from the owner. And this additional acreage will enable us to be more flexible with design. Okay, let's talk reality here. It's not about being flexible with design. It was because the first 4 acres is too wet. People that have gone up there said, no, too wet. So, but no one says it's too wet. They just say they want it for this reason or that reason. Jim, do you have anything to say about that?
Well, it's the usual confusion. They said we have the site already picked out. Nobody has seen it yet. Come to find out, the Conservation Commission hasn't even approved it yet.
Oh, that's another thing.
But that's okay. And actually, on that's okay. You don't have to have everyone's approval.
Right.
Somehow we'll get their approval during the course
After
of,
the fact.
Yeah, midnight.
Yeah.
Midnight to 1 o'clock in the morning is usually operation movement for the town people, for the people under the government wing. Otherwise than that, you don't go to people, you don't go to hearings, and you don't have any kind of special hearings for significant issues. You'll get them. They'll do that quietly at the
In the background.
well, they have the Ashland Committee meeting, senior citizens location, but they have everybody who works for the water department out there voting too, whether they live on it or not. So it's a case of bad management just because it's bad. It has no system to it. If you looked at Ashland's operational scale, structural layout, you don't have one. You don't know the Ashland structural layout for people who work in different places and all report to whoever they report to. It's so confusing that even the blind can't find it. Go ahead.
Yes, so before the town moves forward anymore with this public safety building, please go to the Concom and make sure you can even build on the extra, because it's all ledge on the top. Okay, and it says here negotiated. Well, since those of us who know what happened with the first negotiation, and suddenly there was something that's some other contingent on something else, can the town please come forward and share the details of the negotiation? What was negotiated? I don't want to read that you negotiated. I want to know what is happening to make A, B, and C this new Venn diagram. To make this happen, what was negotiated? And please bring it out into the open and tell us, unlike last time, which turned into a big mess with the neighbors in another neighborhood. So we are looking forward to the details of the negotiation. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is something similar that's happening on Route 126 with the neighborhood near the Framingham line. And this one's another sad one because we just really don't care about historic buildings in this town. Oh, every once in a while they'll save one. If not saving it costs them a ton of money, like the Valentine Estate. Okay, so Marconi's most recently had a different name. It's right near the line, and
Well, Marconi's was now the China.
I think it was called
Japanese.
Fusion. I think it was called
Yeah,
Fusion.
that was it.
But it's been for sale for maybe a year or whatever. And okay, so the neighbors were invited to a meeting. I actually went myself, and they were presented with the plan that had already been negotiated in the background somewhere. And so the neighbors said, well, they're there for your input. And then when you give your input, they go back and they take off a few units. And then they went to the meeting again and they were told, well, this is what you're getting. And all the town, a big part of the Board of Selectmen were there as they were the first meeting, and other town employees. And it's weird, they don't go to a lot of meetings, but then they all show up to this meeting. And I just want to point out this book. If you don't have it, I highly recommend getting it. It was put together by the former chair of the Historical Commission, Ed McGuire, who was awesome. He worked with this guy.
Great guy.
Yeah, and I was on the board with him. And page 112 is this awesome picture of Marconi's.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a really cute building. It was one of our top 125 historic buildings, which is now down to 120, with more in the crosshairs. At the rate we're going, it'll be, well, as we used to say on the Historic Commission, it'll be easy to save the last one.
We have a demolition commission, not a.
We don't have anything anymore, but anyways.
We just blow top buildings apart.
So even though this building is one of the top 125, now 120 and dropping, people are saying stuff like, oh, it's just some old useless building that's outlived its life. Well, sorry, but that's exactly what they said about the town hall.
Yeah.
Before we saved it, oh, you should tear that building down. And then, oddly enough, it's what they said about the Valentine Estate. Some of us wanted them to buy it in 2008. Oh, the barn's nice, but that house just old, useless, not even historic. And then the house outside the middle school, our oldest house in town, that was another one where we tried to get people to buy. Oh, that's another old. Now we've got a huge,
Oh my God! Don't go there.
Building that people are talking about.
Right on the center of our center road.
And it's like, okay, so
Here's Ashland. Go down by the high school and see the building laying next door.
yeah. So again, this is our finest mid-century modern. It can go back to look the way it was. People talk in this town about community. Well, how about a neighborhood organic cafe with outdoor patio with little white lights around the top, and they got a parking lot? Why do we want to tear down an icon in the town of Ashland with the town's permission, because once again, the town is behind the scenes making this happen. Why do we want to do that? How does that benefit us?
Well,
Again.
isn't it rather important is how does it happen? It's because we've got a committee that is been drowned in demolition. They've got a 6-month wait in order to make a decision, or they have to demolish it. And they fight and they try to get the town to agree with it, and people just don't react to it.
We only have barely 3 minutes,
Well-
but I want to make sure we talk about Ashland is a housing choice community. And people, you need to wake up, because there was an article in the paper that Jim saw, and the idea is to bring lots of apartments to this area. The downtown seems like it's going to become all apartments. The MassWorks grant for the rail transit district, the MassWorks grant for the downtown initiative, those are housing grants primarily. You read this article, they will tell you they are housing grants. So we're going to have apartments. Apparently, people keep telling me, oh, we're going to have beautiful apartments up and down 126 in downtown.
Well, let's get personal about it. The article that came out of the State House in Boston said that there's 3 critical areas on that mass build situation, and it is Natick, Framingham, and Ashland.
Ashland, the main
Now,
3.
What the hell is Ashland doing in the middle of the mass? They've got all kinds of Wellesley, you can't touch them with a 20-foot pole with stakes hanging off it. They ain't gonna budge. Southborough ain't gonna budge. All those people that have property that they don't want it to turn into a automobile driving show is just denying any use of the mass world, the monies that they're pouring out to get these people to buy things. We are a sucker for it. We took $6 million. They gave us $6 million to have the railroad district.
The apartments, all the apartments.
And the railroad district, all we got is got a 750-car parking lot.
That's full.
Yeah, trains coming
Oh.
back and forth more and more a day. The cars to get out, get in the car, and they drive home, and they don't drive downtown to Ashland and go shopping in any of the stores. So we don't economically have no benefit whatsoever. And that's what we get out of this.
Okay. Once again, believe it or not, we've been talking up such a frenzy that we are at the end of the show again. You're going to have to wait till next month
Yes.
to learn about all this other stuff. So we want to thank WACA-TV for filming this show. We have a new filmographer back there, Mackie, who's doing a terrific job.
Yes.
And if you want to talk to us, again, you can find us around town.
You
We're
can-
always finding Jim.
Yeah, you can. We'll be there somewhere, and just say hello. And if you have a question, you'll get an answer
Or
real quick.
You want anything investigated. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.